Good. So we're just going to go. Cool. We're live. What's
Woo.
up, everybody? It's Cole Gonzalez, CEO of OSSA.AI, here with Liza, my good friend. We've known each other for a good bit now. It's crazy how time flies. We have a pretty interesting story of how we met. It was kind of random. I seem to have last week I was on with Frank Ramos and I met him in Discord. In the same Discord, I met Liza. And so it's a really funny story. She's a massive creator on TikTok, but also that's not the only thing that's special about her. She also has a fairly large following on TikTok as well, is also a business owner, not just a business owner, a successful business owner. We're just chatting in the waiting room about some of the things that she's working on. So super interesting. And to bring it full circle, which is really cool, she's a day one user of OSSA. So super cool there. And yeah, obviously just wanted to have her on, talk a little bit about her journey, how she came across OSSA, and yeah, just kind of dive into it. So first things first is welcome and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Cole, for that very warm welcome. Happy to be here. Always happy to talk about OSSA. It's been a huge part of my business. So it's been great anytime I get the opportunity to chat with you about it.
Yeah, no, what's really cool is that you've kind of been here, not kind of, you've been here since day one. And I think maybe before we even hop into that, anyone that's here kind of hearing your background about how you got into social media and then how that turned into your business. And then maybe we can dive into OSSA and kind of how that's played a role. And then towards the end, maybe show that feature I was kind of showing you.
For sure. Yeah, I've been in the online space for a long time and have gone through a few different businesses since. I'm probably on like my fifth business at this point. I have a couple of different businesses at the moment, but it doesn't really matter what niche or industry you're in. I really think that like anyone can make it on social media, and there's different strategies that you can utilize. And so whenever I had heard about you speak about OSSA the very first time, it was actually like a joint like call that we did on Discord where we were both like speakers, and they were wanting to have people, share about like, because I was having so much success in their Discord with the TikTok series that I created, they wanted to have me speak. And then you spoke, I think either right before me or like right after me. I can't remember what it was. But whenever I heard you speak about OSSA, I, immediately light bulb went off in my head, because anyone that has been in the online space long enough knows the value of something like OSSA, where you're able to create very high quality content very quickly, very efficiently, and it's also incredibly customizable, right? Like, and this is something we talked about before, where you can create standards for how you create the content, different features that you choose, like the voice and the animation style. And then maybe like when you post it on whatever social media platform it is, you always kind of choose the same audios so you're recognizable, right? And then people have that pattern recognition. And when they see one of those videos, they know, oh, that's this person with this brand. And so that goes into a lot of different facets of like content creating, marketing. There's like so much that it, sales. There's so much that it plays into. And that pattern recognition is so important. And so the fact that OSSA has that is, huge, because it means that for myself, I have several businesses. I have a financial services business, and then I have a business in the sovereignty space, or, if you want to think of it as like the law space, people call it different things. But I'm very busy. I have a lot going on, and then I'm also expecting a baby. So it's like I'm pregnant. So there's like a lot going on behind the scenes in my personal life and, business. And so I can't constantly be in front of the screen, making videos. But with something like TikTok, with social media, consistency is so important. And so when you have a tool like OSSA, you're able to be consistent in a very easy way and keep it in whatever niche or, topic you're talking about. And that's been a huge blessing. Like, we saw a lot more engagement and people learning so much information within my niche just from, OSSA videos that we made. And I obviously like implemented my little social media strategies with like putting it in a playlist, so that way it's like, you know, bingeable, like people can just binge watch them through a playlist and things like that. So there's different strategies you can utilize, but integrating something like OSSA is really incredible, especially for anyone that is wanting to get started and maybe isn't like fully comfortable being in front of the screen, or maybe doesn't ever want to be in front of the screen, you know, and just wants to have like fully AI videos that are still high quality and going to be about what you want it to be.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot to kind of digest there. I guess before even kind of responding to that, wanted to obviously showcase your account. I saw you pass 100K followers, so congrats on
Thank
that.
you.
That's awesome, and congrats once again on the
Thanks so much.
upcoming baby. Super
Yes.
exciting. Yeah. So this is Liza's account. So you can see obviously her personal brand videos. Some of these here are some of the top performing, but you can also kind of mix in here. Was this your first video you ever posted with OSSA?
Which one?
The 300K one?
For OSSA?
Yeah.
I think that's the very first one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane. So that one did 340K on TikTok. So this was
when you're born.
I won't be able to hear the audio, but
Certificate is the
this was created with OSSA, and then obviously your personal brand. You can see a couple of these. So I'm using this thing called TikTok Sort. It's free, and it actually shows you like your top videos. So by the way, anyone who's in here, yeah, just check that out. But just want to kind of showcase your account and some of the videos, just so people are like, did she actually create them? Yes, like they're going on her main account, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk a little bit more about we talked about some of the aspects of OSSA that tie into your understanding of creating content, right? And obviously, your profile's right here, you know what you're doing. How have you been able to take OSSA and then incorporate it into your content? Because a lot of people would probably think that by doing so, there's a stigma around AI generated content, right? Like it's not really possible. So what approach did you take to, have videos that are in, 50, 60, 300,000 views with our tool into your content? Like what was the approach there?
For sure. I think that something that we have to recognize, and this is knowledge that comes from working in marketing, before I was even necessarily in social media at the level that I am now, but being in marketing, being on social media, being a content creator, things that there's a soup that, there's ingredients that make up the viral soup, the soup of virality. And one of those things is, like we said, pattern recognition, right? So you want to make sure that, you have distinct things that we're able to do through OSSA, right? That you're able to have a brand be recognizable, have a creator be recognizable. But the other piece of that is the content has to be super digestible. So I think the reason my content does really well is because my philosophy has always been to make content really easy to understand. And I think this is also just like one of those gifts that I have, because I used to actually be a coach. I used to be a mindset coach. And I would always have clients telling me, oh, I've never understood this concept, but because you explained it to me, now I get it, right? And this isn't special to me. This isn't just because like I know how to do that. I think we all just have our own way of presenting things. But the thing with something like OSSA that's great is that it automatically has digestibility built into it, because it's very appealing to look at, right? Like it's got the text on the screen. We've got the images that it's generating. There's whatever voice you're choosing that's going to go with the video, right? And so it already is more digestible, because when we look at a lot of the research in my niche with this specific business, which my TikTok is very centered around, a lot of that research is very dense. Like you'll see in a lot of these, what I'm reading is like a super dense PDF, And so essentially what I'm able to do with OSSA, take the same PDF and just turn it into a series of OSSA videos that now somebody who maybe doesn't have the time to sit through or the bandwidth, like they're too tired, to fully read and digest and comprehend an 18-page PDF about, assumed name laws or whatever. Instead, they can just watch a 30-part TikTok series that's literally that PDF, but now it's got imagery tied to it. It's got that text on the screen that's just going, word by word, and it's a lot more digestible, right? And I would say the last piece of content, right? So we said it was brand recognition, right? Then you want to make sure that it's digestible. Well, the last thing is going to be, it needs to be repeatable, right? Like you need to be able to repeat the same thing. I heard somebody, I saw this, one of these like TikTok content creator coaches. She said, what did she say? She essentially said that you wanted to say the same thing, but in a different font. Like this is where, and this is what's worked so well for my videos, not only the ones that I've made through OSSA, but also the ones where it's just, me talking to the camera face to face, is that I'm able to say the same thing that I already know works, that I already know is going to engage people, but in a different font, right? I find some new way to say it. So you want to make sure that you're able to find what works and literally just rinse and repeat. I think this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they don't think that, they can just say the same thing again and again. They think that they need to reinvent the wheel with every single post and say something original and be unique, when really what's original and unique is you and how you're saying it. Because remember what I said earlier, I would have clients telling me, oh, I'd never understood this before, but because you said it, it makes sense. Like again and again, I had clients tell me that. And every single person who wants to make it in social media has that gift. We all have our own way of showing up in the world and presenting information. And even with a tool like OSSA, it has its own way of presenting information, right? And so that's where we can leverage that and, have a little bit of self-confidence in the fact that what you're sharing has value, right? But also we want to look at the metrics. We want to look at what is actually doing well, right? Like if something's not doing well, I'm obviously not going to keep trying to talk about it. I'm going to try it a few times and it's really just like tanking. I'm going to maybe adjust my strategy here or there, and find different topics. But either way, I really think that those are like the 3 ingredients that make the virality soup. And thankfully, we're able to do all of that with something like OSSA.
Yeah, no, so many solid points there that we can kind of hone into. A lot of value there. One thing I would say is something that's really unique that you've done as a creator is like built a personal brand, but built it with a business involved, right? So it's like you're constantly giving out value. And my thing has always been like the greatest framework. There's so many businesses that are using OSSA.AI and they're actually not succeeding. And the reason for that is because they're just hard promoting their product with OSSA. And it's like, there might be a time later when you have an established brand and you're like an Apple, where it's like you could just show the product. People are like, wow, super exciting. But it's like, even a creator like you're like the perfect example of what really works, which is like value and entertainment. If you scroll on social media, like I can't tell you the last time I scrolled on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube looking for a product to buy. It's just not really it, right? Maybe on TikTok now with like TikTok Shop, and that's a little bit different. But even then, it's like people are looking to get entertained and educated. And you've obviously hit the nail on the head here of what I would do if I had a legal business, which is like, how do I take information and then display it in a way that's entertaining, educating, and gives value? Because as a result, you pique curiosity. They're going to click into your profile and they're going to go to your website and be like, wow, I've gotten so much value from this story that she told about how my birth certificate is a financial instrument. I wonder if there's any other value I can get from her. Oh, she has a link in her bio. Oh, wow, I could check out this. And then that's, value. And then let the sale happen after. Or maybe something that's cool that you did was you actually I believe you have a TikTok series that you would link, which is also super awesome. Because it's like how I see short form content as a whole. And I think this is something that a lot of businesses might not fully understand yet if they're new, is like short form content is like top of funnel. Like the goal is to just get people that are in the niche of your business to like see your thing. Like, and granted, right? Do you want, if you have a legal business, do you want 500,000 15-year-olds that like legal stuff interested in your content? Probably not. So like, you can't just like randomly put out content that's just generalized. But in your case, right, you threaded the fine needle of like valuable information that's probably attracting someone who has a little bit longer of attention span and actually is relevant to this. And then you're capturing all this attention. And as a result, they click into your profile. Maybe they go to a link in your bio, or they, in this example, right, I believe this one had a TikTok, series linked, or they go and buy your TikTok series. It's like, wow, I got value out of this video. What else can I get? And I think that's like a really big thing that a lot of businesses are missing, is they're trying really hard to use not just OSSA, but other platforms as well. You're filming content and all you do is talk about your business. And it's like, nobody knows your business. That's the whole problem. It's like, and you're not going to, unless you have the most incredible product ever, like, you're not going to grow a following by just constantly shilling your business and telling people why they should buy it. It's like, that's not really what short form content's for. So I'd love your opinion on that.
Yeah, totally. I 100% agree. And here's what's great about OSSA as a top of funnel tool is that what I'm essentially able to do, and what anyone can do, is you can use OSSA as, a way to create content on those specific topics, whatever it is you want that to be in your business, right? And then through that engagement on that video, because they're really great videos, they're going to get engagement, especially if you're providing valuable information. Then you go in and you can answer questions. I think this is the biggest thing that businesses do not realize that are not doing well with tools like OSSA, because it doesn't matter if you're using a tool like OSSA or something else. Like, if you don't have this mentality, it's just not going to work for you. And that mentality is that you are building a community. You want people to get to know you. A lot of people talk about like you're building a brand and recognition, and that's all true. But what is that? What is building a brand? What is building that recognition? Well, that's building a community, right? You're building a community of people that are, whether it's because they're connected through you, but there's going to be some kind of, topic or niche where that is bonding these people together, right? So you want to break into whatever that community, whatever that niche is, or build it, So for me, I think what has been great is I'm able to tap into existing niche of like sovereignty folks. And then I'm also able to bring them new information, in a new way that they haven't thought of before. They haven't, seen that, and I just sprinkle in a bit of controversy in there. And I'm also naturally an entertaining person because I do comedy also. I've done comedy for like 7 years. So, I think that ends up being a really good mix for me for just attracting people with my content. And I'll say, like, it hasn't always been this way. Like I again have been in the online space for a really long time and had a very long time of like content that had very, very crappy engagement, and so but I've always had that community aspect, right? Where like you want to make sure you're using your social media content to go deeper with people. That is the ultimate goal. If you want to use it as a long-term business growth strategy, that's what you need to be doing, because one video is not going to be the thing that, sells that product, right? It's going, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, right? It definitely does. But what you want is to build a community, right? And then from that community, people develop that trust. They see, oh, there's other people, right? That's another thing that people don't realize is you can share things about your existing community, right? Like I will every now and again come on and like share reviews of clients about like Claim the Name, my digital course. And then that kind of creates like FOMO for people. They're like, oh my gosh, like look at all these people that are getting value from this product. And I don't go on and do that all the time. Like it's very rarely that I do that, but it's just making people aware that exists. And also that there's already happy people here in the community, and hey, you could join us and you could be one of these happy people who are, leaving these reviews.
Yeah, no, it's so well said. And it's like, if you're watching this and you own a business, the purpose of this entire, these live streams and that we're doing now every week at 10 a.m. is not necessarily to say go and use OSSA, because like my vision has always been I love helping people create content, and that's why I'm really grateful you came on, because the last one we had on the podcast was super valuable. It's that right there. It's what Lisa's just shared, which is that if you have a business, whether using OSSA, whether using another AI tool, whether you're just doing personal branded content or you're outsourcing someone like to do UGC, the content that's created, it has to be a mix between maybe your product, but more importantly, it has to entertain and educate. And in order to build that community, right? And I think that's so important. It's so important. And this is a perfect case study of you doing exactly that, right? Because if you just said, hey guys, I own a legal business, go to link in my bio, it's like, hey, are you looking to are you looking to understand XYZ topic? Cool. Well, I have a business. And it's like people will scroll and they see that and they're like, I don't even trust this person. Why would I go and buy their product? Why would I go and so it's like long form content's different, right? And I think there's a different use case there because you're able to really form that relationship. With short form content, you have to take yourself in the viewer's shoes, especially a brand new viewer. And if you're trying to capture that person's attention and build trust, the best way to do that is to provide value and to entertain them, right? Like that's really what short form content is. And then maybe like when you become a big enough creator like myself or Liza, it's like, when we've worked with brands or we've talked about our business, it's like the reason we can talk about our businesses in our content is because we have the trust with the audience. We've grown it, but we didn't start off, I guarantee you if I go to the first video she ever made, it most definitely was not about, hey, I have a business, I do consulting, go look in my bio. And literally, this is a mistake. I was on an affiliate call this morning with our affiliates, and there was a newer affiliate that's starting out creating content, and he joined our program. And I was on there, and so was Austin Armstrong, the CEO of Syllabi, and they're absolutely crushing it. And he's a crazy good affiliate marketer, probably the best in the AI space. And this guy is already trying to do affiliate marketing. He just started, and it's like that's kind of comparable to a business trying to push their product really hard right when you start. It's like, first you have to build trust with them, and you can do that through short form content. But if you just say, this is my product, buy it, this is my product, buy it, at some point people are gonna, there's no room for a relationship to be built,
Yeah. And I think that something that's important to realize too is it's funny the way that business works. I'm thinking of a quote from Think and Grow Rich by, I think it's Napoleon Hill. And he says that he basically like debunks capitalism because everybody always wants to knock on capitalism. And he basically says, the one who is successful is the one who provides the most value for the most amount of people. And the example that he gives is like the example of oatmeal. He's like, okay, well, think of how much work has to go into not only like, getting the seeds for that, then growing that, then like how much land you need for that, and how much water and how much this and shipping. And like, there's people in between. There's someone who had to think of that whole process and put it all together, and bring the correct people together to then have that as a staple breakfast, option. And that makes me think of, I think a lot of business owners, this is going to sound maybe, I don't know, maybe this might rub some people the wrong way, but it's like people, when they come up with a business idea, or like they have some kind of business, they're not necessarily thinking about catering to people. They're not thinking about like the person that they're trying to sell to. Yeah. Right. In marketing, we call that having like your like ideal customer, like an avatar. There's different names for that. But I think very often businesses, that, and I'm just using the example of businesses that maybe aren't doing super well, on social specifically.
Yeah.
Is they're not providing something that's like super valuable, or that it's really, changing the game for whatever it is that they're doing. It might just be that it just isn't that great, or so then that's where we have to like go back to the drawing board and be like, okay, how do I, improve this? Like something that I actually was just thinking about this morning because I was at the farmer's market, and there was this woman, this Israeli woman, who was using her like grandmother's recipe for challah bread, who her grandmother's from like Belarus. and she was selling, one of the items she was selling was like an everything bagel challah bread. And as I was driving home, having my little challah bread on the way home, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, this is her grandmother's recipe. But obviously her grandmother wasn't making everything bagel challah bread. Right? Like there's no way, that's like a newer trend. But because she's a good business person, she said, okay, I'm going to combine my grandmother's recipe with everything bagel because that's what people buy and that's what people want, right? And ultimately my goal is I want sales. Right? That's why you have a business, is that you want sales, you want to make money, and you want to do it well, right? And obviously impact people and bring value and all those other things, right? And then there's a bunch of other reasons for that. But it's like, that's something that people also have to consider is, if it's not the product that's super special, then the community has to be. Do you know what I mean? Like people have to be super ramped up about it. Like one example of that is, and if you really love this brand, or, like, I'm sorry, but like insomnia cookies or like crumble cookies.
Yeah.
People have tried crumble cookies and over again, so many people have said they're dry, they taste horrible. Like, why do people even like them? Well, Crumble has done a really good job of, having a pretty good social media presence, and they're tapping into like ASMR videos, and they like give PR packages for people that like do ASMR, like celebrities and other people, right? So there's a community around that, right? And there's a community of people that like wait for that new cookie flavor every week, that they do, or whatever. I don't even know how it works, how many cookie flavors, new ones they do every week. I don't remember if it's one or several, but it's like the product maybe doesn't need to be super outstanding, innovative, changing the game, but then you have to have the community be that, right? Like you have to have really good branding and a really good community around it, and maybe like great values of why you're doing what you're doing, to really make it work, because it's got to be one or the other, or ideally both. Ideally, a good business has a great product and a great community, right?
No, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. I was talking about this to, I think I was talking to this about our operations guy. His name is Sean. And it's like a lot of what people are looking for, which we're improving on it. It's what a lot of what people are looking for is either, you're right, a really good product or a really good community. But if you can get somebody in a really good community with a good product, they will never leave. And that's why I've started spending a lot more time. I have a school community that I started building out. I haven't pushed it really hard for OSSA, but I started giving resource out there and bringing people together, because I think that's super powerful. But my focus has been so heavy on the product, and the team has, because we want the product to be really good, because a lot of people also just do community, which works, and a lot of people get a lot of value out of that. But it's like, if the product's really good, then we can build the community around the product, right? But it's like, if you have what I've found is like, especially a lot of influencers, is kind of a side note, but they build these communities and then they have like a course or some information, and it's really bad, and it actually bites them in the butt, because then everybody's like, yo, this kind of like, I like being in a community, but this product kind of sucks, right? So that's what you don't want.
Well, there's been a big debate, like not a debate, but a big discussion about that recently too, of like, and I'm not in this community, but like, I love sipping all the TikTok tea, is all of the like beauty gurus on TikTok that nowadays, like, people are comparing them to, like the 2015, 16, 17, like 2014 makeup gurus on YouTube that were like brutally honest, that would tell you if a product sucked, even if it meant like hurting their brand partnerships. But nowadays, because of, I don't know, the climate, TikTok shop, all these things, it's like all these influencers with really big followings are like selling these super crappy products. And that's been like a big discussion of, so there's definitely like a balance to be had there, for sure. You do want to make sure you're like providing actual value and not just like giving people something super crappy. I think my point there more so was like, if you're not completely reinventing the wheel, and like it's something that, somebody could find with a competitor, right? Like very comparable. Well, then again, you want to make sure that community is super strong, so that way they can back it up. And just from sheer loyalty, you're going to beat the competition.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Yeah, no, super good stuff there. If we want to kind of pivot here, I did have like I'll have to find it, but I believe I had like a script ready. Let me see if I can pull it up. I generated it right before we hopped on. I want to show that feature that we were just talking about a little bit ago, because I think we have a couple school community members in here kind of on the edge of their seat wanting to see it. So I kind of teased it a little bit. So
Okay.
let me pop this open, and then let me just make sure. I actually have to do this. 1 second. Okay. That should work. All right. Let me share screen. Share screen. This is it. Wait, hold on. Is that the right tab? I might have the wrong tab open. Grab the wrong tab open. Never mind. We will get back to that in a moment. I got to open it up. It's tough because I have the staging website open, so I can't show like the URL at the top because it's public. So I'll pull that up in a second. But I guess kind of before we dive into that, to kind of bring this full circle, where do you see OSSA.AI playing a role for like you and for businesses in, the months and maybe like the years to come? And then maybe on top of that, just your opinion on AI in general as a creator and a business owner.
Yeah, great question. I've been having this discussion a lot with folks in my financial services business, a lot of people that I've been meeting with. And the fact of the matter is, if we look at the way that the economy is headed, the way that business is headed, like if anyone's following, kind of trajectories of the business world, essentially any business that is not heavily investing in tech is going to be wiped out by tech businesses. This is why we see businesses like Tesla doing super well, right? Because even though a lot of people think it's just a car company, it's actually a tech company. It's a data collection company. Like they've collected so much data, through those Teslas. And then they're going to be, hitting the driverless cab industry and like a lot of different things there. Like there's smart cities, like Tesla's going to be even bigger than it is now. But all of that is to say that any business that wants to do well and wants to survive the coming economic and business climate needs to be focused on tech. The old way of doing things is just not going to cut it. Like AI is here, it's here to stay. You're either going to utilize it and learn how to work with it, or you're not, and you're going to get left behind. Like we're going to see this happening with the S&P 500, where like companies are going to be getting replaced with tech forward companies. And we saw this happen in like 2020, and it's going to keep happening. And so for me, that's something that's really interesting to think about, especially being in the financial space, because I get to look at all of those behind the scenes and kind of ponder those things. Mm-hmm. And my financial services business, we're also very tech focused. Mm-hmm. And so I don't fear it. I think that is very short-sighted and ignorant, honestly, to fear, AI and tech. I think that there's been fear around technology for as long as we've had technology. Like probably when the light bulb was invented, people were like, what do you mean? Is it going to electrocute me? It's like it's the same people, it's the same story, So I'm not really afraid of it. I'm not, I'm not buying into the fear mongering, none of that. I do think that we have to kind of get on the bandwagon, especially if you are someone who wants to be successful, right? In a big way. I'm not talking about just like making 10K a month. I'm talking about like millions. If you want to have a seat at the table, you've got to get with the times. You can't just be like stuck in the past, and afraid of anything new. So I think that tools like OSSA and OSSA, I know both of you guys, and it's like, I think you're great. I see who you are as people and how much you work hard behind the scenes to make this product great for people. And you know, you guys are so genuine that it's like I feel very blessed to have been here from day one and to continue seeing kind of where you guys go. I think you're going to be really one of the main players in the space. You know, I don't even know who else is out there that's doing the same thing because I'm just sold out on OSSA. But yeah, so that's pretty much my thoughts on those on those topics. Is like, you know, it's, you get with the times or you get left behind, you know, and then just like buy into the fear mongering. I've never been one to really buy into the fear mongering. I always like want to look at the numbers and how things are going to go, because the tech and AI industry is going to just keep going up and up and up and be $1 trillion industry, you know. So if anyone wants to get in on that, either from just a business standpoint, from an investor standpoint, from just a common sense standpoint, like, I think that's just nonsensical. You know, it just makes sense.
No, first of all, thank you so much for all the kind words. And I know you've been here since day one, so it's been awesome. And I think what's really cool is you're going to obviously, hopefully continue to be here and see the product develop and improve. And I think that's one thing that you have that a lot of people don't, is you've been here for the last, 4 months since we launched, and you've kind of seen the trajectory of the product. And I've kind of, I've looped you in on some of the stuff that we're definitely not talking about just yet on what we're working on. But I think it's going to be really cool to kind of reflect back in the months to come, and kind of to see how far it's come, and like see those original videos on your account, and the difference between the quality and the engagement. That's what I'm like really excited about. So that's awesome. Let me pull this up real quick because I finally got it to work. I'm going to use a really short script because I want to make sure this completes quickly, but obviously we're capable of doing videos up to now around 80 to 90 seconds. So if you are new, just want to quickly run you guys through. We'll keep it simple. When Liza was talking about a voice, so you can select a voice here, any type of voice, and you can play it and preview it. For this case, I'm just going to do Bruce. For the style, we're just going to do hyperrealism because that's really popular. For the subtitle font, a lot of people like generic. Video pacing, as you can see, I'm on the staging website right now because this is getting tested, but I'm showing it a little bit early. But here you can adjust the pacing. So that's how often are the transitions happening? Are they happening faster or slower? That's important because it depends on what type of script are you delivering, right? Because if it's, what emotions do you want to evoke? Because if it's, cinematic or more sad, you don't want like a bunch of transitions going in and out, or it's going to throw off the entire vibe of the video and how people perceive the video. So you can adjust that here. Let's go with normal. So this is the new feature that we're working on. It should be out within, I'm not going to put a timeline, but I would say at least the next couple of weeks here. But legacy is essentially the style that everybody knows right now, which is just the one transition in and out, which has been doing really well. I mean, we saw that Liza has a video with 300,000 views and has multiple in the tens of thousands. But now, this was always my assumption. The reason we're dropping this is because everything we build is geared towards more creativity, diverse content, and more engagement. In my opinion, if there's any AI tool that's building any sort of product or feature that is not supporting those three things, they're totally missing the mark, especially engagement. Because it's like, it's cool to have like a gimmicky kind of, create with AI, but it's like, if it doesn't actually solve the problem of engagement, it's probably not a useful feature. That's just my opinion. So everything we build is geared around those three things. And this one, especially engagement, and I'll explain that in a second. But coming in here, basically you can pick a pattern interrupt. What that is when you're scrolling on social media, what's that first part of the video look like? Does it zoom in fast? Does it zoom out fast? Does it shake? So we'll see what that looks like in a second. So we'll do shake rotate to start. So for transitions, this is super exciting. So this is the AI editing feature, like I said, and you can select either no transitions, or now you can choose from any of these transitions, select a group of them, and our models will automatically apply them to the point in the video, which is, to our understanding, going to get the most engagement or be the most engaging. So that's super exciting. So let's just pick a couple of random ones just to show you how insane this is. I'll just literally randomize it. And then you guys can kind of mess with when you get there. We also added, a lot of people have been asking, can I remove the sound effects? So now we have the option to mute them, put them on low or normal. So I'm going to do low for this one, just for that. And then you can obviously save this as a default. Here's the actual script. I just made it really, really short about sovereignty, super simple, kind of with the theme of today's chat. And then from there, you're going to hit create video. So hopefully this goes through. This is on staging, so it might be a little bit slow. So hopefully we get this to go. Cool. So it looks like those, Jaden must have pushed a new branch, and that's why those are still in processing. But I will show this once it's done. It looks like it's in processing. So maybe we can wrap up a few last points, and then I can share my screen one more time and show them exactly what the new feature is capable of. So let me just pop off here. Cool. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, kind of just coming full circle. That video should take maybe five minutes. If there was like one piece of advice that you had to any either aspiring creator or new business owner creating content, what would you say is the single most important piece of advice you could give with your experience for anyone listening?
I won't give a single piece of advice. What I will say is there is a formula and a strategy to do well on social media. If you can put the time into figuring out scientific method wise, right, to narrow it down how to do that, then you'll do really well. I saw someone, I actually did a training for our team leaders on my in my financial services business. I did a team training on social because obviously I'm like the star everywhere now. Everybody's like, oh my God, you're doing so good on social. Look at all the business you're getting. And my financial business isn't even as forward facing on social. But it still, benefits from it. And something that I saw, something that I was training on, because I'm also always watching people that are like coaches in the space and content creators who have thoughts on content and growing over time. And some of the best tips that I've taken away that have been in alignment with what I've found, especially with TikTok, is, and I think that this is really the way that like Instagram, even Facebook, like Reels are going to, you want to focus first on very short form content. So things that are just like meme videos, like very quick, that is super engagement focused. And then once you build up to, whatever that goal is, if it's like 10,000 followers, so you can get all the features on TikTok, the link in bio and all those things. Then from there, you can start doing more of the longer form branding videos. I think a lot of like, your face forward facing and, all of that, the longer form videos. So you really want to focus on like hooking people and getting them to stay, and following, getting them to do that call to action, just that quick, like, so that your videos will keep popping up for them. And then we want to go into, once we hit that milestone of like 10K followers, if that's what we're going for, then from there we can do the deeper call to actions. Like it's the conversation that you and I had earlier about, once you build that community, like they build that trust in you, you have the branding, they know who you are, they're going to buy because it's you, right? One of the best pieces of advice that I got was, people are not buying whatever you're selling, they're buying you. Like, I can't tell you how many people have gotten my product, and it's also very affordable, but have gotten my digital course just because they trust me and they see that I'm genuine and, I put good information out there on social, and they've gotten a lot of value just from that. Right? It's like people don't even need to go very far to see what the product's about. They just want to get it because they know that it's going to be valuable. Right? And so trust in that. Trust that you can build that community, and that from there, really, people are buying you, right? Because they trust you. You built that trust with them. You built that community with them. And then whatever it is that you present to them, right, as long as it's valuable, and we've had that conversation, and they see you as someone who brings that value, then, it's going to succeed. I think you're muted, Cole.
Sometimes I accidentally press that. Sorry. No, yeah, it's awesome information, and it's kind of encompasses this entire essentially some of the main stuff we talk about, which is giving value first, value, entertainment, right? That's why people are really scrolling. They're not scrolling to buy your product, especially if you're not known yet, right?
Yeah.
Like basically all social media is like I'm a person or a business and no one knows me and I have to solve the problem of not being known. And how do I choose to solve that problem? Well, the best way to solve being known is to be memorable. And how do you be memorable? It's not by shoving a product down someone's, face. It's giving them value and finding a way to positively impact them. So the next time that they come and they see your video again, it's like a subconscious thing of that person gave me value last time. They probably are going to give me value again. And then it's that continuous feedback loop. And all of a sudden, every time someone sees your face, they associate your face with value or your brand with value. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you go route B, which is what Liza was talking about, which is every time they see your brand, they're going to swipe because like, oh my gosh, another promotion. Oh my gosh, another promotion. Like, no, I don't want to click the link in your bio. I still don't want to do it. And then that's essentially what you don't want to do, especially when you're starting. So it's that dance between both. Obviously, you can make that ask here and there. But especially if you're new, essentially coming full circle, you don't want to just be known for buy my thing, especially in short form content, because that's not even why people are there anyways. So super awesome stuff. Let me share my screen and show this. Maybe we'll take a couple questions and we'll wrap this up because we're coming up on the hour. I'm not going to be able to share the audio or else it's going to show the top tab, but I'll just show them kind of an idea of what the editing style looks like. Actually, I can do this, I think. 1 second. Okay, cool. I can. 1 moment. Let me go here. Can you hear the music on your end, Liza?
It's very low.
Yeah. Got that LinkedIn music, that elevator music.
Elevator music.
Or
corporate elevator music.
I know. Really hits different.
It's different.
All right. So this is that video that was generated. As you can see, you can click in here. Made the script super short. You can copy it here. You can see the style, the voice, the font, and the pacing. Once we have this update push, you'll be able to see the actual selections you made for the AI editing. But I'm just going to click in. I haven't even looked at this yet, so hopefully it looks good.
Do you stand for reclaiming personal sovereignty? Here's why you should. The sovereign citizen movement believes that true freedom comes from rejecting a government you view as illegitimate. Follow for more. Do you stand?
Thoughts?
Love it. I love Bruce.
I love Bruce.
That guy looked like a Bruce,
Definitely looked like a Bruce. So yeah, guys, I know that was like super brief, but that's essentially what we're working on and going to be releasing. We haven't decided, what tiers we're going to kind of put it at. We're thinking about putting it in, just giving it to everyone. That's probably what we're going to do. So I'm just super excited. Obviously, there's a huge difference between that and the engaging style. And this is always what we've kind of wanted, is like, we understand, people want to adjust the transitions. We understand that people want to maybe change the images. We're actively solving these problems as we speak, and we're working on features for you guys. We get all the inquiries. I talk with our customer support rep, or lead customer support rep, Blake, multiple times a week. And he basically says, hey bro, this is everything that's happening. People reach out to me. So we're listening and we know exactly what you guys are looking for. So we're 100%, solving these things and implementing solutions and features so that, the product can just be better and you guys can obviously get more engagement, have more creativity, and content can be more diverse. So we're super excited. I'm super grateful to have you on. This has been an absolute blast. We got a good group of people in here. So thank you everyone for hopping in. Before we hop off, is there any final questions that you guys have? I haven't really had a chance to look at the comment section. So looks good. It's going to be paid product. Yep, it's already actually out. Oh, this feature is most likely, at least in the beginning, is going to be most likely available to all users, even on the free level, if that's kind of what you're asking. That's our plan, because we're kind of going to push it out. We haven't decided if we're going to push it out to everyone or just like a small group, but we're definitely just going to add this on top of what already exists, especially because it's like, this is part of the value of the product, because a more engaging editing style like this, it's my hypothesis is that this will, to a large degree, increase engagement, because this is the type of editing that is actually retention based, keeps people, really attracted to the video. So I guess let's see if we have any questions rolling in. I don't know if it's a little bit delayed. But if there's no questions, we'll probably wrap this up, Liza. Let's see. Let me double check. Let's see. Let's let the music play for a minute. Yeah. Oh, as a side note, Liza, you should check this out or have your I know you have a VA. We didn't even talk about that, but you have a VA doing this.
I do,
I'm not
yes.
sure I'm not sure if you saw, but I created a GPT. It has like a really nice rating. So shout out to everyone who's rated it. But essentially this will take you through like a step-by-step process to create an entire script. And it basically takes the process you
The
talked
one that says generate with AI?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's a step. I think the second step is like when you would copy and paste that PDF. So, I would definitely have your VA give this a shot because it might like streamline the process that she's doing. And it ends up with 3 scripts. It gives you really good hooks, a whole body, and then a call to action. So
yeah, I'll have to go in and play around with it because I usually come up with just like the defaults of what we're going to do with, and then she just kind of rinse and repeats.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, it looks like no questions. You must have just delivered so much value that people don't even know what to ask. So
they're shocked.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me stop sharing, bring us back here. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. If anyone, maybe one last point to kind of wrap this up, where can people find you? Where can they find your resources? And what type of person are you really helping right now?
Yeah, it is a bit varied, I would say. I do have a couple of different businesses. Where I want people to go to most right now is my podcast. So that is called The Holistic Sovereign. It's available both on YouTube. I'm really excited about it because it is allowing me to go more into depth and really fully explain some of the concepts and answer some of the questions that I get, some of the very repetitive ones on the same topics. So I'm really excited about that. We've already been growing very steadily there. It's been like a very, very, just trickle of growth, which I'm always happy to see that it's just consistent. And I'm hoping to get more people there, So if anything that I talked about, if you go on my TikTok and you're like, what is all this about? And you want just a rundown, right? And you want to just sit down and get like a full 1 hour long explanation of some of these concepts, then you can just go on the podcast and watch the Holistic Sovereign Show. It's on video, so I'm hoping to get it on like Spotify and things like that. Other than that, I'm also on TikTok, obviously. And then I'm also on Instagram. I think my handle on there is Liza.empoweredco. So if anyone wants to go follow me on Instagram's randomly started popping off too. I've gotten like 3,000 new followers in just the last like 2 weeks, which has been fun.
That's awesome.
So I think we're going to just keep on growing. I'm really excited. And as far as the type of person that I'm helping right now, one type of person with the Holistic Sovereign podcast specifically is going to be anyone who has been aware of a lot of the corruption that's going on in the world, but maybe has had a hard time really tying the strings together and really making sense of it and figuring out what steps to take. That's really the main person that I help, is the people who maybe are like an information overwhelm, or they're very deep into the rabbit hole, but they're very eager to take steps, right? To actually take action and to do the right thing that's not just going to like damn them, So that's really important to me, is making sure that people are also safe and like everything that they're doing. I'm never going to get people to do anything that's going to put them into danger, which I do see that happen in the space with other teachers, which is unfortunate. But Holistic Sovereign podcast is great. And then the other kind of person that I help with in my financial services business is, we're always growing. It is an agency, so we're always looking for agents, people that are looking to free themselves from the employment matrix, have their own business and help people while they're at it. So that's the other thing. I've got that financial agency inquiry form right there where people can fill that out if they are interested in working with me, you know, becoming a part of our team. And then if it makes sense to have them on our team, then, you know, I would sit down for a Zoom interview with them to see if it's a good fit. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm focused on right now, is just those two things, and, you know, really excited about the future.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. And as she was going through that, I was showing you guys, if you actually just head over to her TikTok, you can click in here, and this will give you all of the links she just talked about.
Yeah.
So right here. And then anything here you can read through, but also at the bottom, you can get to all her socials. And then right here on YouTube, you can get to the podcast right here. And as she said, you could start here, and she's going to be putting it seems like onto other platforms as well pretty soon here. So it's pretty fresh, pretty new. I know you're super excited about that. So super awesome stuff.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Cole. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for everybody that was here today. We'll be doing this every single week, having an awesome guest on. Hopefully they can match the same standards as Liza every single week. She set the bar pretty high. So we'll be here every single week at 10 a.m. PST here on LinkedIn. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking some time out of your Saturday to hop on here. And yeah, thank you so much for being a part of the journey so far. I'm looking forward, to having you on again soon in the future.
For sure.
Cool.